Here I have an example of vulnerable code that can be exploited to perform SQL injection. I just set up a database class to create a connection to a database and make some useful functions to execute a query. Has some private methods for helper functions. In our setup function, we drop the users table so that we can populate it fresh every time we run the program. And in the users table, we just create an auto-incremented ID, a username, and a password. We then populate this table with some dummy data. We just have 10 users with usernames and passwords. In the connect function, we create a SQL connection by getting the driver and then connecting to our MySQL server. We then connect to the test database that I have created. In our main function, we just create an instance of this class, and then we list out all the users. The program will then prompt the user to enter a username, and it will get that user's information. So we'll compile the code. And when we run it, we can see all the users are printed out. So I'll just select a user to get the information from. And you can see that we get this one user's username. But if we run the program again, we can construct a string that exploits the direct concatenation with the query to perform, to get all of the user's data. First, we close the quote that was part of the query string in the code. And then we just enter or 1 equals 1, which is an expression that always returns true. So it'll select all the users from the database instead of just the ones where the username matches. And then I'll just put a comment here, which will ignore the rest of the query string that's in the code. And the query that gets executed, see our first closed quote here, and then we have or 1 equals 1, and then this was the hard-coded end quote that we replaced with this. So we put a comment there so that we don't get a syntax error.